Have you ever played Mario Party on the N64?
Start!
Ah! It burns! It burns! My palms are on fire! So, even though there are a lot of us who grew up in the 90s and are nostalgic for the N64, the controller itself leaves a lot to be desired. I have on my controller a GameCube style stick, but even though it rotates like a GameCube controller, it still has that hard plastic on the top like the original N64 controller. So when you're playing games like Mario Party and you're using your palm and you're spinning it, you're still feeling that burn on your palm, where after a session of Mario Party, your hands look like you touched a hot surface that you weren't supposed to. And just this controller in general with its placement of things, the D-pad and the buttons over here, it's the three-pronged shape. It doesn't look like it was meant for human hands, really. Even if you kept the exact same shape and just put the stick where the D-pad was, so many games would control better. It'd be more comfortable to hold the controller. But really, the N64 controller is not perfect, and for a long time I wanted something to replace it. As I grew older and I played the GameCube, that controller, I adore that controller. It's so ideal. So one day I saw online an adapter, and this adapter right here allows you to use a GameCube controller on the N64. And that is amazing. You have the plug on the end to plug into the system, and then you have the GameCube slot that you put your controllers. So here is the Wavebird receiver. You would just plug in your controller on the GameCube end. You have your controller, plug into the system and turn it on, and voila, you got a GameCube controller you're using on the N64. And the GameCube controller is so wonderful. One of the best controllers I've ever held in my hands. Really, the GameCube controller is what I would consider Nintendo's best controller right to this point. It's what the N64 controller really should have been. The placement is so wonderful. The stick is amazing. It actually has rubber on the top, so when you're rotating the stick, you're not just burning yourself, really. You are probably curious of what the buttons are assigned to, and there's probably a lot of other things you're thinking about when you see this. Probably have a lot of questions. So I'm going to show you some footage and show you a graph of the controls, and there's a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm going to get right to it. So I made a chart showing the default control scheme of the adapter, and it lines up exactly like you would expect it to. A to A, B to B. Every input conversion makes sense. And for the majority of games, this control scheme works perfectly. However, there are some games where you'd want to change the controls, and this adapter allows you to do that. If you go to the Raphnet website, there is a page where you can put in the inputs you would like to have changed. As you can see on the screenshot, you have a chart with all the inputs, and here you select where you want each input to go to. After you have all the inputs the way you like them, press the Generate button, and a mapping code will appear. After doing that, follow the directions that you see in this picture. I am now going to play Super Smash Bros. While using a custom control scheme for the game. I have the Japanese version of the game, and if you're curious what the differences are from the US version, you can look it up online. I said the control scheme to be exactly like Super Smash Bros. Melee, and it's a perfect transition, except for C-stick smash attacks, and that's only because the original game didn't have them. So all official first and third party GameCube controllers should work with this adapter, even the wireless Wavebird controller. I tested both N64 and GameCube controller extension cables, and they both worked with the adapter. I only have one knock against this adapter, and if it didn't have this issue, it would be a perfect adapter. But it doesn't have a memory pack slot, so all games that require the memory pack, you will need to find a workaround, or else you will just have to stick with the N64 controller for those games. If they ever make a new revision that adds a memory pack slot, then it would be a perfect adapter. However, most of the major third-party and first-party games don't need a memory pack. Overall, this is an amazing adapter, but it is on the pricier side. You will probably have to pay at least $30 for it, but I definitely think it's worth a buy. If you enjoyed this video or found it to be helpful, go ahead and click that like button, and subscribe for more gaming goodness. If you have any more questions, post them in the comments, and until next time, take care.